The evening sun was dipping low over the quiet neighborhood when Officer James was wrapping up what he thought would be an uneventful shift. The hum of the patrol car was almost calming when a sudden, desperate sound cut through the calm, the unmistakable cry of a child. He turned his head just in time to see a little girl, no older than 6, running toward his car with tears streaking down her cheeks, her small hands trembling as she tried to speak through sobs. Her pink dress was wrinkled, her hair messy as though she had been running for a while, and her voice broke with urgency as she begged, "Please, follow me home." Something in her eyes, a mixture of fear, desperation, and hope, made him realize this wasn't just a child having a bad day. This was a cry for help, and every instinct in him told him he couldn't ignore it. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of compassion, please take a moment to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support helps us keep bringing heart-touching stories like this to life. James didn't waste a second. He stepped out of the car, crouched down to her level, and reassured her that he was there to help. Her small hand tugged at his as she urged him to follow, her pace quick and filled with urgency. She didn't say much on the way, only glancing back occasionally to make sure he was keeping up. The path led through narrow suburban streets, each step deepening the tension inside him. The closer they got, the more he noticed subtle signs that something wasn't right. The houses here were older, some with paint peeling from the walls, and there was a heavy silence in the air, broken only by the hurried footsteps of the little girl. When they reached the house, his heart sank. It was small, with an overgrown yard, the front door slightly ajar, and no signs of movement. The girl pointed toward the inside, her voice trembling as she whispered that her mommy was inside and wouldn't wake up. James' chest tightened as he gently stepped in. The dim light revealed a living room that bore the marks of struggle, empty food containers, scattered bills, and a faint smell of stale air. Following the girl's lead, he entered a small bedroom where he found a young woman, barely in her 20s, lying motionless on the bed. James quickly checked her pulse. She was alive but weak, her breathing shallow. It didn't take long for him to realize she wasn't just sleeping, she was in serious need of medical help. While calling for an ambulance, he kept talking to the little girl, asking gentle questions to keep her calm. Her name was Emily. Through quiet sobs, she explained that her mommy had been sick for days, that she had tried to make her soup but couldn't reach the stove, and that she'd been scared to leave her side until she realized she needed help. That's when she ran out and saw the police car. The paramedics arrived quickly and took the young woman to the hospital. Emily clung to James' uniform, refusing to let go as fear gripped her heart. James reassured her that he would stay by her side until her mother was safe. He drove Emily to the hospital, holding her small hand as they walked into the waiting area. The hours were long, the sterile smell of the hospital heavy in the air, but James never left. Eventually, a doctor came out with an update. Emily's mother, Sarah, had collapsed due to severe exhaustion, dehydration, and untreated pneumonia. She had been pushing herself too hard, working multiple jobs and skipping her own health to care for her daughter. As James listened, he couldn't shake the image of the small, cluttered home and the stack of unpaid bills. It was clear that Sarah had been struggling quietly for a long time, too proud or too afraid to ask for help. Emily sat quietly, hugging her knees, glancing up at every passing nurse as if hoping one of them would bring news of her mother. James crouched down beside her, promising he would make sure everything would be okay. Over the next few days, while Sarah recovered, James visited often. Emily started to smile more, finding comfort in his presence. He learned how Sarah had been abandoned by Emily's father, left to raise her daughter alone with no family nearby. She had been taking on cleaning jobs, working late into the night, all while hiding her struggles from everyone. James realized that without intervention, their life would slip right back into hardship the moment Sarah was discharged. Quietly, James reached out to local charities, community members, and even some of his fellow officers. Within days, donations of food, clothing, and funds began to pour in. When Sarah was finally well enough to leave the hospital, she returned to find her home cleaned, stocked with fresh groceries, and repairs underway. Tears streamed down her face as she realized she wasn't alone anymore. Emily's smile that day was brighter than James had ever seen. She hugged her mother tightly, then turned and hugged James, whispering a soft, "thank you," that he would carry in his heart for years. The neighborhood, inspired by the story of a little girl's bravery and a community's compassion, continued to check in on Sarah and Emily. Sarah began working fewer hours at a stable job that allowed her more time with Emily, and the bond between them grew even stronger. As James stood outside their home one evening, watching Emily play in the yard while Sarah chatted with neighbors, he realized this wasn't just about one rescue. It was about hope, about how even the smallest voices, like Emily's plea that day, could lead to life-changing kindness. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. It helps us keep sharing these powerful reminders that kindness still exists in the world.